Okay, sir.
It is not, it's prepared.
Yeah, it's live, sir. It's live. Okay, sir.
It is
Yeah,
not prepared.
you can go live, sir. It's live. YouTube one, sir. In your browser. Yeah, you can go live, sir. It's live. YouTube one, sir.
Done, Bala.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, dear viewers of Mind Academy YouTube channel. Welcoming you all for yet another Mind Race program with you all on prime time, 6:30 p.m. Saudi time and 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and of course 7:30 UAE. Welcoming you back, and it's my privilege to welcome Sri Murali Krishnan sir, founder director of Mind Academy, also for today's discussion. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Bala.
Thank you, sir. It's exam season everywhere, and you go to any school, any center where there are mid school, high school, even kindergarten students, they are going through a turmoil of sorts. For what? At times, it looks like we add up pressure just for the sake of creating an ambience that if it is exam, then it has to be out of stress. Is it needed? Long back, I remember our former Indian captain, Sri M.S. Dhoni, used to say, there are two things. One, if you're prepared for the whole year, then you don't have to be worried. If you haven't prepared for the whole year, in either case, you shouldn't be worried either. And I guess that is how one has to approach. That is the attitude which defines whether to take up the whole process as an medium to understand and express who we are. So today in Mind Race, what is that we are going to discuss? It is this overall process called exams. And what is it bringing into the table for us, the ecosystem? Yes, dear viewers, every one of us are part of this ecosystem. Are we adding positivity to this ecosystem, or are we adding stress? So let us listen in the initial remarks from Murli sir. Sir, what do you feel, sir? Why, if you go out anywhere, it is all exam, exam, exam. What's your view, sir?
Thank you, Bala. Happy that we have this particular topic for this episode of Mind Race. And once again, let me also take this opportunity to welcome all the viewers viewing our channel at this time from across the globe. So welcome you all once again. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Bala. And coming to your point, yeah, exam. This is something, it's a particular four-letter word which creates a lot of stress to the parents, to the teachers, to students, and and because of this stress, sometimes we mess up the whole life. To me, I think we should all sit back and ask ourselves why we have exams. Okay, we all go through different grades, right? Starting from kindergarten, then move to grade 1, 2, 3. So we have all different grades. And what is the purpose of going through all these grades? It's all about transformation. It's all about being in the process of learning something, being the process of enhancing ourselves, being in the process of knowing certain things, and then trying to apply those things that we have learned as part of these syllabus or whatever, so that we have come out through the whole process, transforming into a different individual. And that should be what education is all about. But unfortunately, we stick to these exam modes just to see whether we pass the hurdle or not. So actually speaking, education is all about transformation. But then when you look from the current age education, or more focused towards exam, we are focusing towards the hurdle, I would say. Exams are hurdles, right? Hurdles before you move to the next grade. So the more focus is there towards the hurdles than the transformation process. So I would say that, being in the process, trying to understand more about what it is in there for each one of them, understanding which is easy for you, which subject excites you, those kind of things. And then if you are able to really learn from that overall process of going through the different grades, that helps a child to come out in a very transformative way, rather than just focusing towards the exam. The exam marks are just numbers, and at the end, they only try to look at that particular day of exam, how he or she or a child perform. So but there is much more to it. When we talk about education, it's not just passing the exam, it's not just getting a particular grade in an exam. It's all about, are you able to transform yourself? And this holds good for not only for exams or education, it holds good for anything that you learn in our life. We all learn, and learning is a continuous process, or I would say continual process. So somewhere down the line, I think we have got our priorities wrong, and that is why more focus towards exams, and more than exams, the marks that we are going to get out of exams have become a top priority. So if you're able to keep that priority aside and really put focus towards the real priority of education, which is a transformation process. And I think you touched upon it when you said, how much you learn throughout the year. Exams,
Exactly.
it happens, if you take a grade, the final exam happens once in a year, but the learning process happens throughout the year. So as you rightly, if a child is going through that process regularly, then exams are just, it's just a byproduct of whatever you learned, just to see where you stand in the process of transformation. That's how I would take it.
Very true, sir. I understand the essence has to be the transformation process. And nowadays, it is the age of WhatsApp University. If you get into WhatsApp University, especially during this season, most common message is, who found this concept called exams? Let's find that individual. Where does he belong to? This is the most commonly spread message during this season of the year, sir. Now, if you get back to the history, I guess it boils down to our friends to the north. I guess Chinese had this philosophy of having a meritorial process of selecting people for administrative jobs. And if you get into our own Indian history, we had a tradition of exhibiting, expressing our skill sets. So there are different ways of looking at it. One and more raw type of a learning where you go through a theoretical process, where you express the ideas, the concepts, the theory, and you have this Indian system where we had a traditional expression of our skills. Of course, we had our own way of literature and going through the procedural aspects as far as the theory is concerned. We do have our systems. But what do you feel as a right balance, sir? At the end of the day, people may argue on either side is more important. So what do you feel as a right proposition of mix which should be there? Because it's more towards the rote learning and expression as a theory is prevailing as of now. What is your view and take on it, sir?
True, Bala. As you rightly said, the current education system is more about rote learning and, trying to see how much or how good a child memorized the whole thing, and just going and writing whatever you learn in the way it is supposed to be written. So that's how marks have been awarded. But I think the new education policy, which is coming up or maybe already passed by the parliament, will soon hit the grounds. And then I think probably there could be changes happening in the education system in India, especially. I would say that, the more of application side of the education needs to be considered, rather than just mugging up or whatever is there, or memorizing what is there in the textbook, coming up and writing it. Because you really don't need that now in this current age of, as you rightly mentioned, WhatsApp University or Google University. So we really don't need to go through the theory. Yeah, of course, you need to know what it is and understand what it is, but the major portion should come from where you should apply it. Like for example, 1 + 1 is always 2, and we should learn that it is 2. But where is that application coming in your day-to-day life? When you select a career, where is that application coming in? And if we are able to, inculcate a culture that students, teachers, and parents help the next generation find that application side of what we learn, then I don't think the
Understood, sir.
education, the current way of grading system or current way of giving marks based on whatever memorized will be needs to be changed, and it is all needs to be based on applications. And I think we always talk when we talk about learning something new. I always like to bring this concept to the new generation. Like we always say, information, knowledge, and wisdom. So it's
Hmm.
information is in plenty. So there was a time when information was not that available in abundance. But now wherever you want, you can get information everywhere. So you don't
Hmm.
need to memorize things. It's all in your fingertips now. But the question is, how good are we in translating those information into knowledge, and
True.
then translating that into a wisdom where you can apply those knowledge, where you can apply those information and do things or make it useful for you in life. So I think the new education policy which is coming up has got some glimpses of all these aspects, and that should be the future. Like where is that you're going to apply now? If you really look back, when we were in school, we learned so many things. I don't think we all remember many things that we learned. We don't even know certain things where it is going to be applied in our real life. So there has
Very
to
true,
be a
sir.
focused approach towards what is that we should learn, what excites us, what is that makes us feel good about learning something new, and then try to guide the next generation towards a direction in which they feel passionate about the particular subject. So then exams are no more exams, and as we rightly say, when you are able to get into a job which is really exciting for you, which passionates you, then you will never be doing job even for a single day. Same applies to the exam as well. If you see children, certain students, they are too good in maths, they like maths.
Agree.
Okay. And for them, maths exam is not an
As-
exam at all. They love doing it. But for them, maybe history is not their cup of tea. Similarly, we have seen quite a good number of students who don't like maths. So
True,
it's
true.
all about getting your zone and your where you really belong, and then going into that particular area. So more than rote learning, as you rightly pointed out, it should be all about applying those learnings. And I
Understood,
think
sir.
new education policy has got enough opportunity. Like I think after grade 5 or 6, they have this vocational set of things coming in where children will be able to see the application side of whatever they have learned and then move into a particular zone, which is really exciting for them. So yeah, I think we should move to that direction rather than rote learning and trying to grade just based on whatever a child has memorized.
Excellent, sir. I guess that brings in the light. We all hope and pray that the national education policy soon gets rolled out into action so that the students get into that real facets of application oriented education. So I guess that will excite the students and as well the overall ecosystem. Now, when you were expressing the points, sir, there was one striking feature which you shared, which I thought I should be engaging further on that line. I remember, sir, as students, whatever we went through, most of the concepts is not something which we remember. And whenever I have engaged in discussion with the seniors, I must say my father or probably my grandfather era people, invariably I have seen them being extremely happy for being an 40 grade means 40 upon 100 or a 50 upon 100 scorer, and they never felt shame to express that yes, I was a 35 mark holder or a 40 mark holder or a 50 mark holder. Cometh the 2000, now there are students who are probably 95, 97 out of 100, but still they feel the second graders in the overall process. So they don't feel belonged to the overall process. Now, why does it happen, sir? Why do you feel that it is happening in the overall process where once a 40 mark holder was very proud of going through the process at the end of the day, he has cleared it. Of course, distinction people were given the additional respect which they deserved, rightly so. But now even a 90 or a 90 plus student feels that he or she is not up to that particular place. Why do you feel this change in the overall approach has happened, sir?
Yeah, but a change in the overall approach, I think that it has happened because of the competition or competitive atmosphere that prevails. Like the relate, mark is always relative, comparing one child with the other.
Hmm.
Whereas, I don't think it's really required to compare, because every child is unique. It's not that, you can apply one yardstick to find who is good and who is not good. But we cannot have one yardstick. I think even our last mind race, I was mentioning about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's famous quote that, being everybody else is easy, but being
Very easy.
yourself is difficult. So I
True,
think
sir.
even educational institutions and even as parents and teachers, we should see that we cannot have a same yardstick for all.
True.
When we have a same yardstick, what that means is that we are not accounting for the uniqueness of each child. Every child is gifted. Every child has got a lot of strengths, and everybody
Agree.
has got weakness as well, like all of us, elders, be it elders or child. So
True. True.
the situation has to be in such a way that these strengths of each child, the education system should be in such a way that the strength of each one has to be tapped and see where he or she really belong. But unfortunately, the problem is, as you rightly mentioned, about 40 grades who were really happy those days. That itself shows that, do you think that, there is a big difference between bunch of students those days and bunch of students now, except, of course, they have a lot more information because of the technology. But
True.
as a human being, the smartness of the people, the energy level of the people, or, in general, as a human being, do you think that it has changed?
Not much, sir.
Not much, right? But then why is it that today everybody is getting 97 and those days everybody was getting 40 or 50?
Very true.
That itself shows that the yardstick that we apply is not quite right.
Agree. Agree, sir.
So that itself throws a question that, are we really going forward in the right direction in terms of grading students and seeing that, okay, this child is best or whatever it is, it's all kind of relative things. I think we should be looking, in a different angle, different direction, to see that we have the next generation where tapping the strength of each child, and which is the key core asset. It's not like throwing a fixed number of subjects to a student and trying or asking him to mug up things, do the rote learning and come and write an exam, memorizing all the things. That's not education is all about. But unfortunately, I think that is why, we have organizations like Mind Academy who really want to bring this change in the field of education. So it's all about not looking at the marks, and that too in the current fashion, where everything is converted or looked at from a rote learning point of view.
Indeed, sir, striking. So it means that the overall thought process and the approach, and as you rightly said, it is the comparison factor which has come into the dimension. And I still understand the point which you're making out, sir. Like, people are pushed whether it suits the strength of the child. Invariably, he or she is pushed into that perspective. So it is where, I guess, this stress factor starts to build up rather than just enjoying the process. And in the overall system, then what happens, whether you score 95 or 97, you always fall short of expectation. And if it is not your cup of strength, like for example, an historian is asked to write a theory in mathematics, for sure it is going to add strength. It's not going to add joy. It's going to add stress for that particular individual. Beg your pardon. So coming back to the point, sir, so how much of an importance that the personality of students, as you rightly said, we go through this process and turning point where the personality of individuals comes and plays a major role as far as education or whatever sector of life is concerned. So how much of this overlooking into the personality of individuals you feel that is playing the role in the stress process, sir? Because if you see, sir, like, we are, so far we have been discussing about exams, and there is no relativity between exam and what stress is concerned. As we speak, we have an psychological specialist, Dr. Bhavani ma'am, joining us as well. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. So the point is, so in which way or in what line you feel, sir, this aspect of exam and stress gets relatively connected, and how much of a role is the overlooking in the personality aspect plays a role in the stress, sir?
Of course, Bala. Any competition leads to stress, and that's a human psychology. And to me, a bit of stress is always good, and it helps any individual, any child to perform better. And that's a common known thing. But nowadays, what we see is this has been taken into a different, totally new level, and that is what is taking up the whole game into a new scenario. So it's very important, and as you rightly mentioned, personality plays a major role when it comes to these kind of things. And it is, as a society, as parents and teachers, along with students, to take care of these things and see that this is not getting too much into the child's head, so that and we have seen many issues in terms of suicidal tendencies and all increasing in children because of this stress level, basically in terms of exams or comparing one child with other child and those kind of things. So it needs a conscious effort from all these different peoples in different walks of life, be it teachers, parents, and even society, to see that this stress is not taken too much into the head of a child, so that they can competitions are good, but then yeah, it has to be done in a very joyful manner. I always remember the example of an empty glass. Maybe you would have heard about it. If you can hold it for some time, but if you start holding it for 1 minute or maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, and as the time passes, even though the weight is same, you feel like you cannot do it anymore. And similar things happens when you are completely focused towards the grades and exam stuffs as well. It really gets into the head, and the stress level is going to be really high. So it's all about having a balanced approach when it comes to exam. As we rightly said, it's not only at the time of exam that one should learn. That is where I said the priority is for the transformation, which should start from the beginning of the year. Then it is easy for children, parents, teachers, so that they pass that hurdle called exam in a nice way, moving on to the next grade.
Understood, sir. Equally so, it has to be a continual process so that the students don't get overwhelmed at the last minute. Very well put through, sir. And we are also being joined by Dr. Bhavani, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for joining today's Mind Ray session, ma'am.
Welcome.
Ma'am, we were discussing about these two factors, if looked into and siloed, should not have ideally a connection, exam and stress. But because of an ecosystem, because of the parameters, what Mr. Muralikrishnan sir was telling about, this comparison factor and putting more stress on the results rather than the process is adding up stress into the overall system. Parents, students, teachers, institutions, everyone goes through this process. What do you feel, ma'am, as an ideal way, as a system? When we started off, that's what we were discussing, ma'am. Every one of us are part of this ecosystem. So as an ecosystem, how we can evolve? Yeah, wherever we are, whether good or bad, we are where we are today because of whatever process we have adopted. Going forward, what do you feel should be and process as an ecosystem we all should be adopting, ma'am? Your thoughts and insights.
Yes, I would like to start. See, when we were in 80s, it was told that we have exam fear. And when it came to around 2K, it became exam tension. And now we refer it as exam stress.
True.
Okay. So this stress, if you come across with so many people, when you talk around, for anything nowadays, they coin this word stress. It's not only to exam, anything. Maybe I have family stress, I have work stress. Students say that I have exam stress. And maybe you have a spouse, you say that I have wife stress. So stress is coined with each and everything. It has become an integral part of our now day-to-day life. True. So being a professional from this side, it is actually a big challenge for us to understand what is the stress level of any particular client. Okay. So basically, when I see students, when they come across to me for this particular issue, I have observed 3 categories here. Okay. So The first category is those students who are, really hardworking and they are disciplined, they study a lot, and, they are considered as the toppers of the class. And the
Okay.
mediocres. Mediocres are like, for example, they have a science exam. There are 8 chapters for the exams. 4, they'll study thoroughly. 4, they don't touch at all. But they are very good in this 4 subject, and they'll go and they'll write. They'll get average marks and they're happy about it. And the other category, they are least bothered. They don't know what's happening. They'll come, they'll write the exams, and anyway, they are ready to get the scoldings or whatever. Now, when I assess, mostly this toppers category, they actually face more stress, in
Okay.
terms of exam stress.
Mhm.
And when we talk to such students, one thing I realized that it is coming from home environment.
Okay.
Because these particular students have a lot of pressure from home. Their parents'
Okay.
expectation is too high, because parents have set the expectation that my child, irrespective of knowing the child's capability, every father and mother want their child to go to IIT or
Yeah.
get, MBBS seat. So that particular expectation is put on that child. So
Mhm.
definitely when there is expectations put on the child, how, if he knows his capability, he feels that I may not come up to this, but he is trying his best. When he feels that he cannot cope up with that expectation, slight level of stress starts
Starts up. Okay.
unknowingly. Even for us, see, if we are
Very
all
true.
working individuals, when we have some certain project, and if we fail to do it on time, definitely we also get that stress. And as sir suggested, like, okay, competitions, there is another boy who is doing better, and unknowingly, again, that also, these are all triggering this one. Okay,
Elements.
I have to get more marks. All these things happen. So mostly what I observed in my personal experience, that this category who wants to score more, we are in that rat race now. 99.99%, 100% from there it's starting. So those boys or girls, they are under more stress. And one of the main reason I told you, from the house. So I really request all the parents not to pressurize your children. First and foremost, you see your child's capability. All 5 fingers are not same. Don't
True, ma'am.
compare your child with the other, that, and okay, and without knowing your child's interest level. Something, you just want, because of the social, norms and that prestige, you want your child to be a doctor or engineer, you just push them. Okay, if you have enough money, okay, go get into medical college. And see, that is also unnecessary pressure for the child. Please ask your children whether you're interested in this particular course, or how is it going. So simple things, when you start communicating with your child, at least I have seen 50% of the problems will resolve. Okay, so don't
it, ma'am.
keep, as parents, don't keep unnecessary targets for the child, like you must get this much above 90. Every parent you see, I think you must have met so many parents. Every parent wants full marks. Who tells, okay, if you get 60% or
100 is the
happy.
least.
See, this is
100 is the least.
especially we Indians, we are like this. I don't know this, as you said, this system, educational system itself. I don't know from where. I hope there will be some changes in the education system itself, so that our children will not have, this scoring system, point. For that they are fighting. So definitely
Understood,
the stress level will be better. And I feel even from the school also, I request the teachers.
Not to add up to that.
I have observed one more thing, that, because of the extra tuitions, they are taking, extra care for some students, and they are not, fair enough giving marks to all the students. So if ethically they are not performing well as teachers also, this will definitely affect the particular child and his stress level also. Because even if he is a
Understood, ma'am.
confident child, somewhere his
These
confidence
kind
will
of
go
issues
down.
can. Got it,
Yeah,
ma'am.
and these are all very sensitive issues, but We all, as parents also, we
So
know
it,
many things are happening, but we try to keep our mouth shut, thinking that tomorrow my child shouldn't get affected by, school staff.
understood, ma'am.
Yeah,
Understood, ma'am.
these things
So
we
basically,
have.
this is it is basically effective communication and working on things which could look subtle, but it can add a lot of values on a longer run, ma'am. Thanks for
Effective
sharing.
communication by parents and teachers, you
Understood,
know.
ma'am.
And one more thing I would like to point out here, because it's my personal experience where I have observed,
Please, ma'am.
see, stress, you see, there are two types of students. One student will be, very expressive. He will express his feelings that I'm so stressed. I don't know, tomorrow I have exams. I can't go and write. I have forgotten everything. They will express. Okay. And the parents also will come to know, teachers will come to know that, he is not right. Okay. He has stress. Definitely they'll come and seek help from you or me or someone. Okay. But there is another variety of student where they look all cool, happy-go-lucky. They never show that they have stress. They'll go and they'll write the exam and they'll come. Once suddenly, this happened actually. So once suddenly, when the day results day, they'll come and see, they feel that, they didn't get good marks. Suddenly they'll do some things, very which I don't want to say, they are ready to take out any steps, very dangerous
Understood, ma'am.
steps. So keen observation by a parent and a teacher is also important. Okay, the child may act as if, he's cool and but as a parent, we have to go and talk to the child and take care what's happening. It's okay. Even if you don't get good marks, it's okay. When we reassure these things, definitely it will also help them. And taking care of physical and emotional health, that is very important. Physical health, especially Gulf students, I always say that B12 and vitamin D deficiency also cause you, very low on energy, focus, you cannot focus. So please, parents, you have to, go to pediatrician and check all these things so that your child will be active and grasp things. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Indeed, for adding very valuable points, one for the teacher, one for the student, and parents, of course, communication. And most importantly, this is another angle which generally gets overlooked, your physical orientation. Whether are you like vitamin sufficient enough to engage in an scenario like exams. We are running short on time. Quick 30 seconds from both of you. I'll start with you, sir. As a student, I've always felt having some routine just before the exam de-stresses you. What do you suggest, sir, quickly, as we are running short on time? What could be a quick exercise as a suggestion for the students so that they can practice out, so that they feel little like, small song, one favorite comedy show? What could be a quick stress reliever as they engage in just hours before or a night before exam, sir?
Two things, Bala. I will quickly add because I know we are running short of time. One is, like as ma'am rightly pointed out, communication is fairly an important factor in, unfortunately, we are not having enough proper communication at home, be it kind of, small games that as a family they can play at home, maybe building a family tree, those kind of things as a family. If they do, parents can find out where their interest really lies, rather than just pushing for engineering or doctor. They can find out where their real interest lies, and that itself will help them to, take them into the right career. So one is communication. Second is, it's not just anything, Bala. It's all about having more number of hobbies. So as parents, what they can do right from a younger age, everybody is, as I rightly, I always tell this, it's everybody is unique. It's not that one thing, if somebody likes music, it's same for all. It's not like that. But it's important that everybody should have some one or two hobbies that they can engage in. Even during the time of exams, they can engage in these small activities like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, which really boost their energy, and then they can go back to the books and continue their studies. So two things. One is finding a good hobby, which really excites them. And second is a proper quality communication as a family. A family working as one single unit towards one common goal always makes a big difference. So many times what we have seen is the communication is not there. Just when it's time for exam, parents just ask them, go and study. Doesn't make any sense. Just telling them go and study. But that proper communication, family units working as one single unit is very important.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Family as a unit working and putting the whole energy together will add for sure, and stress-free exam approach. Ma'am, quickly, one final comment from you, ma'am.
Yeah.
As an individual, yes, ma'am.
I would like to give only 2 points because rest of
Please.
the things are mentioned. 2 points, breathing exercise. It does miracles. I have told plenty of my students. During the exam also, you see a question which is difficult, you feel nervous, just 5 deep inhalation and exhalations. It works. And second thing, positive affirmations. Just before the exams night, you have to talk to yourself saying that, yes, I can do well. I'll be I have prepared well. Definitely, I will do this exam very well. Positive affirmations and breathing exercise, it works.
Thank you, ma'am. Indeed, breathing exercise and talking to yourself. I recently listened to our Indian cricket captain Rohit Sharma telling that it is your mind. If you are convinced that you are going to break it up, you will break it up come what may. Thank you, Muralidharan sir and Dr. Bhavani ma'am, for adding your points and very valuable insights to make sure the listeners and viewers and students from across the globe to say no to exam stress. For sure, take it with the right spirit. Breathe in and breathe out if you're facing an uncomfortable question. Engage with your family the night before. Play a small game or two. And most importantly, affirm yourself that you're going to do it. All the very best for your exams. Thank you once again, Dr. Bhavani ma'am.
All the best for all the students over here. And I apologize for joining late. I had another meeting.
Nana, it's a pleasure always to have you in, ma'am. And thank you, Muralidharan sir.
Thank you, Bella, and wishing all the students out here the very best for their exams. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Thank you.
Dear viewers of Mind Academy channel, Mind Race. So next week we'll be back with yet another important discussion for education, students, career, and personality. Till then, take care, stay safe.
Bye-bye.